Hello students, we are going to learn General Science for class 7 from the book Science Squad. Today we are going to learn chapter 2, Nutrition in Animals. In this chapter we are going to discuss how nutrition takes place in animals. Let us begin the chapter. We have learned that plants are autotrophs as they prepare their own food. But animals are heterotrophs because they depend on other organisms for their food. This food comes either from plants or from animals. That is, animals may depend on plants or animals for their food. We obtain food such as wheat, rice, vegetables and fruits from plants. We get milk products, eggs and meat from animals. Human beings who obtain food from plants are called herbivores. Human beings who obtain food from both plants and animals are called omnivores. Nutrition is nothing but a process of using the food for energy, growth and repair of the body. What are the different types of nutrition? We know that there are two types of nutrition. They are autotrophs and heterotrophic. Heterotrophic is of three types, namely saprotrophic, parasitic and holozoic. We have already learnt about saprotrophic and parasitic in previous chapter in plants. Now we shall discuss about Holozoic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition. The word Holozoic nutrition means eating solid food. Most of the animals, including human beings, take the solid food into their body by the process of ingestion. That is, taking in the solid food is known as ingestion. The ingested food is then broken down. That is, it is getting digested into simpler substances so that it can be absorbed by the cells in the body. So, holozoic nutrition means eating the solid food. Eating the solid food is known as ingestion. After ingestion, what happens is that the food gets broken down. That is, getting digested into simpler substances. Why simpler substances? Because it needs to be absorbed by the cells in the body. The undigested and unabsorbed part of the food is thrown out of the body by the process of egestion. The human beings and most of the animals such as cat, cattle, dog, fish, amoeba, etc. follows Holozoic mode of nutrition. Let us discuss how nutrition takes place in amoeba. Amoeba we know is a microscopic and unicellular, that is only one cell protozoan. It moves slowly in a moist environment by extending its cell membrane and cytoplasm. This extension, we'll call it as a pseudopodia or false food. The process of nutrition involves ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, egestion. So, the process of nutrition in amoeba takes place by ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. Let us discuss about ingestion. What happens in ingestion? As the amoeba reaches a small piece of food, it starts to extend its pseudopodium around the food. Soon, the food particle is engulfed or surrounded by the pseudopodium. A spherical food vacuole in the pseudopodium forms around the engulfed food particle. The vacuole can be treated as a temporary stomach of the amoeba. Let us next discuss about the digestion. The food vacuole releases special digestive chemicals called enzymes. These enzymes break down the food into small and soluble molecules. Thus, digestion in amoeba takes place inside the food vacuole. Absorption. The digested food is then absorbed directly into the cytoplasm of the amoeba by diffusion. Assimilation. Amoeba utilizes the absorbed food, that is, uses the absorbed food to obtain energy through respiration for the growth of amoeba. Ingestion. The undigested food such as carbon dioxide and excess water are thrown out through the cell membrane. So, the undigested food is thrown out of the body while the digested food is absorbed by the cytoplasm for the growth of amoeba and for respiration. Let us discuss how nutrition takes place in human beings. We know that digestion is a process that breaks down food into simpler substances. This process takes place in digestive system of our body. What are the parts do you think are involved in the process of digestion? The common parts are mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. Repeating again, the parts involved in the process of digestion are mouth, then comes through the pipe, that is esophagus, then the food falls in the stomach and then it moves on to the small intestine, then comes to the large intestine, then it is ejected, the undigested food are ejected out through rectum and anus. Let us explain this digestive system in humans. Mouth. We know that digestion begins in the mouth, that is the food you are going to eat through mouth. What is there in the mouth? It contains teeth, tongue and salivary glands. So what does the teeth do? Teeth will break the food into small pieces. It helps to chew and grind the food into soft part. Now the salivary glands will secrete a watery liquid called saliva, which gets mixed with the food. The saliva digests the starch present in the food partially. The food is then swallowed by the tongue and goes to esophagus. Now we'll see what happens in the esophagus. Esophagus is nothing but a tube which connects the mouth to the stomach. When the food enters the esophagus, the walls of the esophagus will undergo muscular contractions so that the push is moved downwards. This movement, we'll call it as a peristalsis, and reaches the stomach. Now let us see what happens in the stomach. We know that stomach is a J-shaped thick walled bag. It is present on the left side of the abdomen. The food from the mouth is brought to the stomach where it is digested into semi-solid. The inner lining of the stomach releases mucus, hydrochloric acid and digestive juices. Hydrochloric acid kills the bacteria in the food. The digestive juice break down the food partially digested. So as discussed earlier, the mouth has already made it into a semi solid, partially digested. Now here it is further partially digested in the stomach. Next, the food reaches the small intestine. What is small intestine? It is nothing but a long tube arranged in coils in our belly. It acts as a main part of for the absorption of digested food. Here, the complete digestion of food takes place. The walls of the small intestine release digestive juices from intestine, liver, and pancreas. The intestinal juice breaks down the starch completely and convert it into glucose. The pancreatic juice breaks down the fats into fatty acid and glycerol. The liver produces a liquid called bile, which reduces fats in the food into tiny droplets. Now, the food is ready for the absorption into the blood. Digested food is absorbed through the walls of the small intestine, where a network of blood vessels carries the nutrients to all parts of the body. So, in small intestine is a long tube coiled. It acts as a main part for the absorption of digested food. The complete digestion of food takes place in small intestine. It releases digestive juices, that is, juices will be released from intestine, liver, and pancreas. Intestinal juice, that is from the intestine, breaks down the starch into glucose. Pancreatic juice from pancreas will break down fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Liver secretes bile, which reduces fats in the food into tiny droplets, so that the pancreatic juice acts on these droplets and convert them into fatty acids and glycerols. Okay. Now the food is absorbed by the network of vessels. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed passes to the large intestine. What happens in the large intestine? We know that large intestine is wider tube than the small tube. The undigested food along with the mucus and water reaches the large intestine. The large intestine absorbs with the water and makes the undigested food into semi-solid. This semi-solid is eliminated out of the body through a short tube called rectum, which opens into anus. The anus passes out the undigested food in the form of feces. Let us see how digestion takes place in ruminants. What is the meaning of ruminants? Ruminants are nothing but animals, herbivorous animals, which eats only grass. We know that grass contains cellulose, which is difficult to digest and hence can be digested only by action of certain bacteria present only in the stomach of the herbivorous animals. So, ruminant or herbivorous animals which eats mainly grass. Grass contains cellulose which can be digested only by certain bacteria. This bacteria is present only in the stomach of the herbivorous animals. When the cow swallows the grass, what happens? It stores it in the stomach. Now, the rumen contains cellulose digesting bacteria, which begins to digest the cellulose in the grass. The partially digested food in the rumen is now known as cud. After some time, when the cow is resting, the cud is brought back to the mouth and begin to chew the cud thoroughly. You must have noticed cow chewing the food when it is resting. This cud will now reaches the other parts of the stomach and then reaches to small intestine for complete digestion and absorption. Let us discuss about teeth. An adult has 32 teeth, 16 in each jaw. There are four main types of teeth: incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. There are 8 incisors, 4 in each jaw. They are our front teeth. Incisors top 4 are sharp and chisel-like for cutting off pieces of food. There are 4 canines, one on each side, top and the bottom. They are sharp and fang-like for tearing food, especially meat. There are 4 premolars for chewing and grinding the food. There are 6 molars meant for chewing and grinding the food. Let us see how tooth decay takes place. The first set of teeth which grow during infancy are called milk teeth. The second set of teeth which grows after the fall of the milk teeth is known as permanent teeth. Tooth decay is a process in which the tooth becomes rotten due to the formation of cavity inside it. So we have already know that when you eat too much of sweets or especially too much of sweets, in that case our tooth becomes decay. We call it as a cavities. Let us have a chapter recap. Food along with water and oxygen forms the raw materials of our body for the growth and the repair. Animals, being heterotrophs, need an external source of food. Holozoic nutrition means eating solid food. Amoeba is a unicellular animal. It utilizes food for its energy and growth. The process of nutrition involves ingestion, digestion, assimilation, and egestion. Digestion is a process that breaks down food into simpler substances. Respiration and transportation process are linked with the digestion process. Chewing the cud is a system of eating and digestion in ruminants. There are 4 types of teeth. This ends the chapter 2.